the breath in my lungs. Just can't hold me. No man. Start a revolution with no man control. I'm gonna start a revolution with the breath in my lungs. Sound off. Sound off.
Is it just me?
Oh, what's up, everybody? Hey, I was hoping Doug was going to intro us on that one.
Great.
I set him up
What am I
twice.
going to intro? I have no idea what we're
Roll
going
a
to be
curveball.
Yeah.
That was a curveball, yeah.
How are you guys doing this afternoon? We're getting together super early today for you guys. This is an episode that is for us.
Yeah.
We're like 90s dudes, and I wanted to show something to you guys and get your reactions to it. And hopefully my old school 90s hip hop, Christian hip hop guys will actually see this video and go show this some love. This is like, so we come from the 90s, right? So we love those big tracks where like all the artists jump on together, right? And remember all that back in the day? Yeah. All the artists did that. So I found a track. It was put out 3 years ago, and it features like nothing but legends from Christian hip hop. And so it's a newer track, and it was, I don't want to tell you too much because you're going to see on the screen who's in it. And then you're going to wait for the artist that to pull up on this track. So where are all my 90s hip hop dudes at? So I'm super excited to show you guys this. I know it. You guys
Stephen Wiley on it?
Who is it?
Stephen Wiley?
No, it's not that old school. Oh, so this is 90s. This has got a super 90s dope vibe to it. So you guys are watching Sound Off, the show where we just go into every little thing from politics, specifically music, and whatever Christian themes we want to talk about. But today we're going to react to a video. And without further ado,
curious.
What?
I'm so curious.
All right.
I think I know what song you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of it.
I don't think you guys have a clue who this is. One of the artists you probably don't know, and this is the artist's song. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. And
Chris with the curveballs.
Is it an artist formerly known as?
No. What I want you guys to do is I want you to listen to this track. Just think about those.
You're gonna say vibe with it? Were you gonna say vibe with it?
Vibe with it.
All right, let's vibe with it.
Like you're in the car.
Okay, I'm in the car. We're in the car, guys. We're in the car. We're in the car. Let's vibe.
Yeah, this is hot. So here we go.
Let's do it.
3 years old.
Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah. I grew up on hip-hop of the 1990s, before tall tees and skinny jeans, when you was a revolutionary or a G thing, not something in between. Rappers couldn't sing, the only pop in hip-hop was locked, you know what I mean? Music was real life or maybe reach for, not just to sell some kids clothes or women's cologne, when the streets was as authentic as the studio, and all around the world it's the same old song.
After 20 years, why do I even have to explain it? I am hip-hop, these other guys are rapper fan famous. If you listen close enough, you can hear it in the lingo. Karaoke cats, extended versions of originals. Came from the era where you had to have your own voice. Topic of discussion didn't matter. The art of choice, the heart was void. And it was taken with intention in the purpose of invention to motivate you to go.
And I'm a Kobe kid, I stay in ciphers with my homies still. Spit rounds through iron mics to rip your ear off like a Holyfield. In this holy field of rappers, I'm the only killer that could fill an actor with some hoes just like a caterpillar tractor. From the era of the freestyle, 4 hooks was harmonies. I was terrorizing rappers, they would end up on their knees, whether wondering how a kid so young could be so hard, or mumbling a sinner's prayer to become one with Son of God. I'm tired of watching these kids getting tangled up in church cables, simply apropos to have a bro tip over merch tables. Gotta get back to basics to hear a rapper catch heat, instead of singing and whatnot and getting caught up in a trap beat.
Lyrically empty, millennial deep sleep. Speaking about a robbery they ain't do last week. Truth we need, kinda make a brother run full speed for the altar and leave my bandanas in the street.
I came up in the middle of the crack era, dope boy, dope game, Ronald Reagan, King, B and CIA, cocaine. gutter boy in the middle of the trap, till I fell in love head over heels and found rap. After that it seemed like I dodged shootouts and gun wars. I heard about it, homie, I was at the record store. It had my undivided attention, I struck gold. Hip-hop saved my life, Jesus Christ saved my soul.
I came from saying what you know to showing poets ways to flow, and waking AM on the basement floor to make it to the show. Waited patient coast to coast and dropped my agent on the low. I blow the spot each time I rock to simply pay the things I owe. I played the game correctly, served these suckers plate to crow. Never plagiarized my idols, only traded face for dough. Patrons heard me talking real and gained the space to grow. Just your former favorite rapper, changing lanes to make it go.
The flow was cold or hot, wasn't taking no lukewarm. If your stage presence was whack, getting booed was the norm. Style had to have form, and the beat had to knock. Care to hear what you giving, nothing about what you got. Seen as art, not a platform for clowns and coons. Mumbling and doing a jig over the same trap tune. Looney Tune cartoons, cross-dressing in bright colors. Carrying clutch purses filled with verses about nothing.
It's the young OG. Yeah, I've been around the block, I've been around a few corners, but I tried not to cut them on the come up where I'm from. There wasn't much support, so I resorted to learning every side of the game. It's like an octagon, I'm in a cage, fight with myself. Freedom behind bars when I write what I felt. On rhyme pages I bleed, on live stages I sweat. But I'm not crying if I don't get the accolades or respect for what I've done. What I did was do something that I love, and all the glory goes to God. Store up my treasures above. Go.
Now I remember upon my first introduction, falling head on top of heels, accelerating my consumption. Wooed by the beauty of approaching a blank slate and the elemental art of the culture I couldn't shake. Hey, you can fashion anything to something, make it great. So literally documented my journey into the fake. Cause hip hop was like a box with no lines, enough space. I had some malnourished friends with no vittles on their plates, making records for the culture, recorded for mankind. Saw in the written record how I needed to unwind. Most of it would only happen through a process and a time. Stopped protesting my position, saw the spots where I was blind. And I'm so grateful that he was kind. He drew me in, illustrated my purpose, he put me in line. It was that cardiac transformation what proceeded. I fell into a groove and couldn't beat it. Now you see it.
Oh yes, my turn to flow. My story's simple, bro. My delivery three-dimensional, possessing height, width, and depth. That's why after numerous listens to my writtens, one still connects. I gonna relieve like medical prescriptions. I go with an attitude towards restrictions. I've been commissioned under a peculiar jurisdiction, so it's a constant collision. Watch out for the shrapnel, the facto. When putting together thoughts to rock in the form of a rhythmic pattern, my mind circles the earth like the rings of Saturn. I bring the light like a lantern. Well, at least that's the goal. Not all enjoy a good soul. I freely speak, viewing financial compensation as merely a treat from individuals who love what I do over beats. I go, 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 go.
Man, that really does bring you back.
I mean, it needs to go back to that style. I mean, nothing against Tom McDonald, NF, or any of these other cats that are out there now. That style is straight up street hip hop. And man, it's so funny that being an avid hip hop listener, I'm picking out the names.
Yeah, the voices.
The only one I couldn't pin down was Braille.
Yeah, his verse started with he's the young OG.
Okay.
So his was right in the middle. I mean, so the song is called it's called Go, of course. It's by Proxy, is the hip hop artist. So he was kind of an independent artist, and he got all these legends on a track. And
wow,
I mean, it hits.
Never heard it before. Yeah, I never heard it.
It's so good.
There needs to be like we need to get like all these cats together and just do just a freestyle record.
It's such a long song too.
72-minute freestyle.
I mean, think about all the people that could have been on a track like that, and that could have been 18 minutes, and you would have just been like, just listen to it. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, having Journey Big along with Manchild, along with Bonafide and Notaverbs, just that right there sums up mid 90s, late 90s.
Early zeros.
But I mean, Pettity's verse on the thing was probably the hottest on that whole entire track. I mean, all of them came in there, they crushed it. Notaverbs and Petity are working together. They're in a group together right now. They have a couple tracks out. We'll probably react to one of their songs because I'd love to actually get those guys on and talk about their new project, what they're working on, and kind of listen and react to some of their new music. Because it is that they're taking like that old style, which is real hip hop, mixed with slightly newer production type of approach. So it's really good stuff. The stuff they're doing right now. I think they have like 2 or 3 songs out at the time making of this.
Like you said, it's more like street hip hop, right? There's a difference between like street hip hop and rap, or even hip hop and rap. Those are 2 different genres almost, right? Even though they're rapping on both, but hip hop is hip hop, right? Rap can be very poppy, it can be dancey, it can be, where you would never associate like Will Smith, for example, as hip hop. You'd say he's rap, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. So this is more of a classical like hip hop, and there's an appreciation for that for sure.
Yeah,
you're just envisioning these guys recording in a recording studio with backpacks on, with their hats backwards, and some kind of kid doing graffiti on the wall. That's how I envision it, because that's totally
what you
like
grew up with.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
I remember when you sent that to me, Chris, and I was like, "Come on."
And you didn't listen to it, and then you didn't even listen to it.
No, I did listen to it, but dude, that was
for a show like this, made it more special.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it really reminisces, right? I mean, most of those artists, for most of us, were like the thing we listened to when we listened to hip hop during that time in that era. For almost all of those guys that I believe, they all still have faith. They're all still walking. Some probably stronger than others. I know Notaverbs is a pastor, right? So a lot of those guys are doing a lot of things in regards of, keeping their faith. Where most of the artists that we talk about from that era, some of them walked away, some have passed.
9 days out of 10, though, you can tell usually like lyrically with a lot of like artists, if it's where you're kind of like, what are they even talking about? Are they talking about a girl, or are they talking about God? My point is that sometimes you can tell lyrically on how deep and theological and even just how strong their faith is based on how much they put that in their music versus just drop God or whatever. Did
you guys notice that it was a diss track too?
No,
I didn't know.
Yeah, so it was a diss track to modern hip hop. That's what the whole track is about. So within there, you have all the spiritual elements of their faith, their journeys, all of those things within a diss track of mocking modern hip hop movement. And I think
it kind of does deserve a diss track. So bravo for them. I mean, it actually kind of deserves that critique, right?
I literally was listening to it like, okay, who's this now? Who's gonna come out next?
You can see the list. You can see the list of them all. So you're like, who's next, right? Who's next? Who's coming up?
It's just that if you close your eyes and if you actually listen to this stuff growing up, and you can pinpoint, like I knew, like right away, Bonafide, Journey Big. I pinpointed their voices because I was a huge Grits and huge LPG fan. But the one thing you got to look at too is that some of these guys are amazing artists that put possible fame on a shelf to get the word of God out. I mean, Petity was huge. Grits was marginal, but the only one on that list that had really any kind of fandom was Petity. LPG was so underground that, I mean, unless you really knew Christian hip hop, you didn't know who Journey Big was or LPG. And then that brought you into knowing like Brainwash Projects and Pigeon and all these other artists that then left the faith to try to seek out major record deals and stardom.
I mean, when you get LA Symphony on a track, Grits, You've got LPG and SFC, and you got Notaverbs and Pettidig and Braille and Marzil all on a track, and Proxy, right? I mean, wow. I mean,
crazy.
back in the day, we would have flipped out with a track like that.
Yeah.
This video, at the time of viewing this, is still probably well under 8,000 views. I forget how many we had. Nobody knows about it. It should have gotten, should have been on the
That sums up Christian hip hop, though.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, Rapzilla didn't cover it. All these other channels.
Wow. I thought Rapzilla didn't cover it.
Rapzilla did not cover it.
Wow.
I mean, that's why there's a group called The Battery, which is Journey Big and Peace 586. They have a song where they actually call out Rapzilla, that you have non-hip hop heads running, basically the media for Christian hip hop, which is Rapzilla, right? So, I mean, that's a whole nother discussion and story, but stuff like this, when all these OGs get together, it went so far under the radar. I mean, if people actually paid attention and this got into the right types of hands, you just saw, the artists, right? Serene Poems, Sherlock Poems of LA Symphony is doing so much work up, with Othello, up in, which is Ozzy Moore, up in the Michigan area. And nobody really knows, what they've done up there, because it's sort of gone, when GRITS left Goatee, they put out a couple records that didn't really get mainstream play. They had some really big heavy hitters on those things, and they just never really took off. And I think that's what happened to most of these guys, and why, Manchild has a full-time job and Notaverbs is a pastor, and ultimately their careers, went, ended a little too early for the mainstream world, because you're not going to see Lecrae end early. You're not going to see Andy Mineo end early. You're not going to see this next generation of artists have to end early when they were the big guys, right? When KJ52's full-time job is a pastor, right? Wow. And he puts out music, but his salary and his livelihood is based on being a pastor. Same with, all of these guys. You're not going to see that happen with this next group of the people who are in the names of the lead. I mean, every one of these artists basically were headlining the hip hop portions of festivals, conferences. They were doing all this kind of stuff. And now they're just an afterthought, which is such a shame, because it's, the industry, just like the mainstream world, it's what you can get from, it's what you can get from that artist to feed those people. And ultimately these guys still have stuff to say. That track was super hot. That's 3 years old.
There's not a big enough audience though for it, right? Like I understand like this discussion, but like there's not, and I knew this even when I was big into all these artists. I'm like, there's not a big enough audience for these type of artists. This is literally true kind of hardcore, street hip hop. No, I don't. You
don't think if Lecrae put on one of these guys on a song?
Oh no, for sure. I mean, it would blow up a bit, but I don't think that these guys would be support as their like full livelihood forever doing this type of music.
When Braille got put on Misconceptions with Propaganda and Odd Thomas, we all knew who those guys were.
Yeah.
When he got put onto that Church Clothes mixtape, which went huge, which Church Clothes changed the game for Lecrae and specifically these guys. Humble Beast took off of their popularity from being on that track with Lecrae. If Lecrae put on Journey Big on a track and he crushed it, people would be going, "Oh my goodness, who is this guy Journey Big, who is the best rapper that Lecrae's ever worked with?"
Yeah.
Right.
I still don't think that he could, even with that, like that momentary blow up or whatever. I don't think that he could support, supporting his family on his music. It wouldn't resonate. Like, I don't mean this disparagingly at all. I'm just saying that even Lecrae and these artists, some of their music is more mainstreamed, right? Like it's more mainstreamed, right? And again, that's more for the fact that they can actually like support themselves. when you're dealing with a very, like, for example, Soul. None of that exists anymore. Not dance music. I mean, you couldn't make a livelihood if you tried. I mean, there was a period of time where it kind of just hit because I think Nitro Praise was the big thing, right? That really kind of threw it on the map. But like none of those artists would have ever been able to make a living out of it in the Christian scene when it comes to a very small genre of people that are into like house or trip or dance or, you know, all these different genres that Soul represented. I mean, even to the point of like Grape Tree coming out with being like, we're only going to be a rap label. They couldn't even have done it. So like when it comes to these artists that if you're going to be, you know, we're going to stay true to ourselves, we're going to do this, it's never going to hit like more of a mainstream or a bigger audience. There's always going to be people that appreciate it, but it's never as far as industry or as far as sales. And now with the industry, the way it's changed, how in the world would they actually be able to even make money with streams, right? Yeah. How many people are going to stream this, you know? 10,000, 100,000. Like right now, Chris, these guys, and there's people like us that appreciate them. They've got 8,000 views on this song. Yeah, in the whole world. Whole world.
Well, let me say this before we end because we're going to end early today. This song is probably available iTunes, those types of things. So if you are a '90s hip hop guy, or even just a Christian hip hop fan, and you see all these legends on track, Proxy put this together. Go support it. Just go down, buy the song. Go support it. You know, I'm sure he would be
comment on YouTube, man. Tell him how much you appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, put it down there. Go shout out all these artists. Proxy is the one who put it together. He organized it all. And the beat was dope. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Did you guys enjoy that? So
I liked it, man. It's good.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys been watching Sound Off. And this has been our throwback 90s hip hop reaction. Proxy, go. You know who was in it. Go check it all out. We'll see you guys soon.
Sound off.